Welcome back to the My Online Schooling podcast, the place where we talk to staff, parents and pupils to find out more about life at the online school. In this episode, we speak to Radha Yamadoi, a mother to Maya, who is 8, but very nearly 9, about their experience as a family of connecting with My Online Schooling. We're going to find out what life is like for them as an Indian family but living in Tokyo. We'll hear some of the benefits of an online education for Maya and what this means for them all as a family. So come with me and listen in on this conversation with Radha Yamadoi. Radha, thank you for being here and welcome to the podcast. How are you doing today?
Yeah, hi Simon. It's nice to be here. It's a great day here. I'm in Tokyo. It's very sunny outside and I'm feeling great and looking forward to this chat.
I'm glad that you are. I've been looking forward to talking to you as well. I've been really looking forward to finding out your experience of connecting with My Online Schooling. But before we do any of that, could you just explain, for the sake of people who are listening to this right now, where you are in the world, what your family makeup is, who is in your family and, how old your daughter is and things like that?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Indian by birth and I was brought up in India and I'm living in Japan, very near Tokyo, since 1991, which is, a full 30 years now.
Full 30 years, yeah.
Yeah. So I am married to an Indian and we have 2 dogs who are 14 years old. And then I have my daughter who is Maya. She's about to be 9 years old.
Oh.
Yeah.
And she's excited to be 9?
She's very excited with her whole wish list for things that she might be able to get on her birthday. So,
is she about to be disappointed with that wish list, or will some of her wishes come true?
I think some of her wishes will come true, and she's actually learned in the last 1 year to not have too many expectations. And we are learning a new lifestyle ever since the COVID problem has started in the world. So, yeah, I think she'll be fine.
And tell me a little bit about where you're living then as a family.
So we live in this independent house in a city called Sakura. It's not the cherry blossom Sakura, but it's pronounced the same way. It's very close to Tokyo and very close to Narita Airport. Yeah, basically it's like a 1.5 hour commute if you commute into Tokyo. It's a countryside, lots of greenery.
Okay, lots of green. That sounds lovely. And then if you're going into the centre of Tokyo, would you normally drive or would you take the train? Or, what's the best way of travelling into the city?
The best way is definitely to take trains because the train network is so developed in Tokyo. But, even before COVID and especially after COVID, I only drove in by car because I wanted to avoid the rush. Yeah.
And is that what most people are doing now? Are most people driving in instead of taking the train?
No, I don't think they have that luxury. Because if you live in the heart of Tokyo, most people don't have cars.
Okay, and then tell me about the kind of accommodation that you have. Is it a house or an apartment? And are there lots of other houses nearby, just so that people listening to this can get a sense of where you are right now?
Yeah, it's an independent house, and there's lots and lots of other independent houses around here. No tall buildings near my house. There's obviously a lot of tall buildings as you go closer to the station. But yeah, I'm kind of 10 minutes by car from my nearest railway station.
And then when you're not at work and when Maya's not at school, what kind of things do you do as a family to relax, to have fun, for leisure time?
Well, mostly Maya prefers to play video games, but we try to actually go out for walks, either with or without the dogs. Now they're getting a little bit old, so it's mostly Maya and me exploring the neighborhood and checking out the different streets and who's living where and stuff like that. And right now, with the masks and with everything else going on, that's about the best we can do. But once a week, I take her to her piano class, fully masked, and to her tennis lesson, fully masked. Yeah, and that's about the only activity that we've, allowed her to have. The schools and the tennis lessons have also been closed down because of COVID for many months during the last year. But they've only just started, and finally we can go again.
Okay, well, let's take a look then at the world of online education. What led you to decide on online education for Maya?
So she went to a local international school, which was actually pretty far away from my house. We had to take her to the school bus stop, which was 40 minutes by drive. And then the bus would go on a highway for another 50 minutes. So it was like almost 3 hours of daily commute for her. But we didn't mind it because that seemed to be the only option available for an affordable international school where she could get some education in English. And I also wanted her to study French because I have a master's in French from India.
Okay, right.
And I was pretty interested in that opportunity. Unfortunately, when the COVID hit us, the school got locked down in March, and then when it started, the school tried their hands at giving online lessons, holding online classes through Zoom. I soon discovered that many teachers didn't like teaching through Zoom.
Right.
They were not used to it, and then some teachers were okay with it. Some parents wanted their children to be at school. So there was always like a mixture of some students in the class, some students at home. And I absolutely wanted Maya to remain at home because after not having a job after COVID started, had started my own company, which means that I was customer facing. And if there was any rumors that any of us had got quarantined with COVID, it would have just killed our whole life, living. We couldn't have really made any money whatsoever. So it was a very, very big decision for me to, keep her at home. And the school was not happy with it. And many times the teachers would, by accident, mute themselves or mute Maya. And it was very frustrating because either she couldn't participate in the class when she could hear other people talk, or the teacher, we couldn't hear what the teacher was saying for almost 20 minutes. And even if I had signboards saying, we can't hear you, because they didn't really care. They were not looking at the camera, so they never noticed.
I see.
So that was pretty frustrating because from my perspective, I mean, not only that I care about the education for my kid, but also I had fully paid for her tuition for the full year. And it was very frustrating to feel kind of cheated because the school couldn't offer classes like physical education or arts or anything in the lab anyways. And we were not complaining about that. But for the few classes they could offer, this was the situation. So it was like, I'm not sure why I paid all the money. And of course, I continued to pay for her lunchbox every day. I continued to pay for the highway bus because the school needed the money to continue to operate. So I just felt cheated, frustrated, and very stressed. And Maya often was in tears when she was muted or she couldn't participate.
Girl.
So that is the biggest reason one whole week, I didn't sleep at night, and I was doing a Google search night and day. And I ended up finding two options, which I was never aware of in the world, throughout my life. I didn't realize that you could actually have a full online education. So I was just looking for any school that would offer any kind of courses to keep her educated. And then I ended up finding my online school and another school in another country. But I chose my online schooling because it offered French. It offered the option of putting her into the third grade, even though the academic year had started in September. And I could also go for the core course only instead of doing the full course, because
I see.
That would give her an opportunity to actually hear all the recordings for the last 6 months and actually come to the same level as her class. And so it seemed to be like a perfect solution to all my issues in life.
But even though it might sound like a perfect solution, it's still a big change, isn't it? To go from one school to another, to go from a school that's in Tokyo to a school that's not in Tokyo because it's online, but also to change the whole model of being a traditional style schooling system to being online. Tell me about how you felt going through such a big change in 3 different ways.
So I looked at what the demerits were, and the demerits seemed to be that she would not have much interaction with other kids and she wouldn't be able to meet her friends. And when I thought about it, I realized that she didn't have those many friends to start with because of the school bus commute. You can hardly actually mix with anybody.
Yeah, and of course.
And then the one friend that she didn't want to lose touch with, I just spoke to her parents and, got in touch with them through the teacher. And now my daughter is able to just chat with her online and through a video call or something. So it's not a big deal anymore. And she cannot take Japanese lessons because my online schooling doesn't offer Japanese. And my daughter is very fluent at Japanese. And I was hoping she would continue with that. But because the school fees of my online schooling are minus the commute and minus the food and are less, it actually gives me a lot of options and freedom to increase her classes from tennis and piano to anything else I want her to go to. And if I have those local opportunities, I can always find a class where she'll be able to mix with people when the time comes. Not right now, but when the time comes. And she can probably make friends. So that demerit was out of the way. And then, being an Indian living in Japan for 30 years, I have never wanted for the world to be very narrow. I've always wanted diversity, which she didn't have that much of. Like there was a lot of Japanese students and a few nationality students of other nationalities in her school. But my online schooling, if you just, look at the diversity of the class, that in itself is a very big merit for me, I want her to experience the world. And if she can do it through one video camera and one, school portal, then nothing like it.
That sounds amazing. Tell me about some of the friends that she's made from different parts of the world since she joined My Online Schooling, without mentioning any names, but what parts of the world are some of her friends from now?
Well, to be seriously honest, she just finished her 2nd year in March and she joined My Online Schooling in March as well. So it's not, it's just a 1.5 month that she has spent on the class. And she hasn't had much opportunities to actually have a direct interaction with her her fellow students. But she was really thrilled when she joined the first class and they started writing welcome messages to her on the chat. That in itself, was a big deal. And there's obviously, people from Malaysia, from Singapore, from India, from, some European countries. Just, I think, Vietnam and places that she has never even heard of. So I think Uzbekistan, it's just amazing. I'm now, in my 50s and I've never met people from those countries before. So I think, as she continues to grow and continues to study in this school and she's able to have more activities and understands how you can actually mix up with people in different clubs, which I think will soon happen from next year. I can't help but think that she will have lots of friends from different backgrounds.
Can you tell me a little bit about how you find the benefits as a family of going for the online schooling option then, please?
It's pretty simple because one, I have to pay less money. Second, I'm sure that my daughter is safe because she's at home and I don't have to spend, myself 2 hours of my day helping her to commute. And she doesn't have to spend the 3 hours. So what it means, she doesn't have to wake up at 5 a.m. in the morning, which she had to do from the time she was 7 years old, and which was pretty stressful for us. And apart from that, I have to spend, less money, as I said. So it gives us a lot more freedom to send her, here and there. So a lot of my stress has gone down. And the best part of it is I can monitor, I can sit behind her and do my work, and I know exactly what's happening. And if she looks completely confused and lost, I can quickly give her a hint of what the teacher is trying to say and help her And so I think her classes are much more productive. Apart from having the option of, listening to the online recordings, that has really helped us a lot, because we don't have to be upset if she can't understand the first time. She can always listen to it again.
And of course, you never get that option in a traditional school, do you? If
No.
you go home at the end of the day, you can't replay the lesson that you've just been to.
No, but I think the point is you wouldn't even know that there was a need that you would replay the lesson, correct? Because you wouldn't know if your child was lost or not. So this way we can exactly understand. We are much more involved. And I've noticed that all the assignments from my online schooling up till now have been very interesting. I've never ever in my educational days been given projects at this young, age. And so maybe it doesn't happen in India, it doesn't happen in Japan. And just making posters, for geography, making videos and all kinds of things, it means we have to spend a lot of time with her, helping her, teaching her, and, doing something together. But it's the best kind of participation in her bringing up, in her growing up, that I have ever had up till now. So I'm thrilled.
And you mentioned earlier on in this recording that finding a school which was English speaking was important to you. Tell me why that is important for somebody in 2021 to be educated in a school like that, where English is the main language.
Well, first of all, if my daughter continues to live in Japan, being bilingual is, I think, going to be a key to her success. I know that because I was bilingual when I came to Japan and I did pretty well. So
Right.
I think that's important. But I also have a very simple reason. My husband doesn't speak Japanese very fluently. And I always think ahead. In case something happens to me and I'm no longer around to help my daughter, my husband can help her if her education is in English. But he can't help her if it is in Japanese. And we
Okay,
don't want to
right.
completely give up our daughter's education in the hands of others. So we want to be involved. So that was the biggest, challenge.
What do you think Maya enjoys most about online schooling in that case?
Well, she's first of all thrilled that, she's not muted and she can hear her teachers. And she's also, my daughter is very disciplined, and she doesn't like it when there's a lot of, noisy, boisterous people running around or not listening to the teacher. She feels disturbed. But in my online schooling, the teachers make sure that there is an etiquette followed in the class. And, obviously there are some kids who want to say a bit more than others and who don't necessarily, agree with the rules and regulations from time to time. But overall, 99% of the times, everything is, disciplined, and you can use the software to raise your hand and to speak when it's your turn. So it really fits in with the mentality of my daughter very well. And then she's thrilled to have these assignments and, go on video and perform as if she has her own company. And she used our dog as the chairman of the company. And unfortunately, he didn't stop barking till the end. But but it's been a lot of fun, just doing things that she never thought of doing. And then the computer programming, and then the teachers, encouraging her to do Google search and searching for things on her own. That's been a completely new experience for her. So I gave her my own, big desktop computer. And so she feels richer having the
Of course.
computer and
Yeah.
having access to the internet. And then I think, she has realized that this is the best thing that happened to her. I asked her before this interview, what do you want me to say? Are you happy? And she said, I'm so happy.
Oh, that's so good to hear. That really is. That really is. Well, look, that's probably a good place where we should bring this episode to a close. But Radha, thank you so much for being with us today. And thank you for sharing your own experience and Maya's experience and your family experience of interacting with My Online Schooling. Thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
So that was Radha Yamadoi from Tokyo talking about her daughter, Maya. Thank you, Radha, for coming on to this episode of the podcast. Now, don't forget that you can always get in touch with the school simply by searching My Online Schooling. But also, if you haven't followed this channel yet, then now's the time to do so, because then when each episode is released, you'll receive a small notification just to let you know that it's available. So go and do that now. But in the meantime, thank you for listening to this episode, and we'll look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye for now.